Good morning, beloveds. A great day is today because God is in this place. God is in this place. Truth is, God is in and as and expressing through all space, all place, time, and yes, experience. God is in, as, and expressing through all space, place, time, and experience. I want you to hear the experience part of that. Do you believe it? You believe it? Really? Really? Because sometimes that experience creates a not so happy space. And that's okay. We're human. We feel. So today I invite you to open your hearts and minds to a greater realization of really looking at the life of you as your experience. And how that experience affects us. How it can propel us. Or how it stops us. It's all good because it's all God. So what do you say? You ready? Ready to get started? Really? You sure?
Yes.
All right. So, Wonder Man has a question. What is the common good of life? What is that good that is common? And what do you think about when you hear the word common? My first thought was plain. Beige. I like beige, but common to me at first was something, and this is my judgment, not as pretty, not as colorful. But I'm not right on that because I know a greater truth. So, what are some of the ideas of common and good for you? Love is common? Oh, okay. Content. Common shared, right? Yeah.
Basic needs.
Basic needs. Perfect. Profound essentials. Inclusive. Okay. So I did some exploration, of course, on these words, common and good. And as I was reading, common is described as something familiar, something widespread, or shared together. Shared was mentioned. Common can also be the knowledge gained as a result of an experience. Happens here a lot, I hope. Do you ever leave with a little more knowledge than you came in with? I sure hope so. Good, in the science of mind teaching, tells us that we are encouraged to take the good wherever we find it. Take the good wherever we find it. And that good, or God, is universal. So, what does that mean? No matter the experience, no matter what we find ourselves doing or being or involved in or reacting to, good is there. And all that is common to all of us. Now, it's one thing to agree with the words, the theory, the concept of common good. But what I found, to really get it, we have to live it by demonstrating it. We got to show up as it. Show up as that good, as that thing, as that experience. Which brings Wonderman to a second question. Are you living the good life? Are you feeling connected? Consider today's affirmation that I'm going to share with you. My heart and mind are ready to celebrate the wisdom I receive from all my connections. All my connections. Now, some of those connections we might not want to consider a connection because they ruffle us a bit. They're upsetting to our state of But what I found about that state of is that's when I'm open to something new, a greater expression. And it doesn't have to be anything negative, although sometimes it seems to be. But it's all good, because it's all God. The common good, for me, is an inner wisdom which is enriched by every single experience. In fact, you required all that has ever happened in your life, all of it, to be who you have come here to be today. And when you finish with this morning's celebration, this will have added to who you are in whatever way you choose to allow that to be. The common good is when we recognize and accept that the universal truth that is that God, the good, is through all things. That is a common good when we accept that in a greater way. And what I found through all the years of ministry and experience, it's so easy to intellectualize anything. It's so easy to keep it up here and give it the lip service. And boy, oh boy, I found it's not so easy to embody sometimes. Because we have areas of our life when we've been trained that we shouldn't go there. I was told I shouldn't show emotion. Not directly, but through example from my father. So I kept it all shut down. Little Mr. Perfect. Didn't show anything. A good little boy. Well, and that's okay. It was good that I realized what I was doing. So I got to be able to work through that, to be able to even stand up here, to be able to be comfortable sharing who I am. And so my most recent experience to get to express through and out of was the campfire. And boy, oh boy, I had a lot of stuff. Not only things, but stuff. My stuff was engulfed in flames. My heart was ripped open. Well, my first reaction was one of default to my old pattern. Shut up, shut down, close the door. We all have our ways of handling situations. And then I thought, what the? Well, you know. So I began to sift and dig and go through the debris. And what I noticed, not only in the debris out there, but what happened for the debris inside, was what survived and what is surviving in me. Symbols came out of the rubble. And it became a focus of wonderment for me. What was the good in this? Why did this survive? What did this have meaning to me? And if so, what is it? Well, I had a shift in my deep downs. You know, so the symbolism of things, what here? House burns down and stuff burns up. Is that right? House burns down and stuff burns up. It all burns, anyway. The flames inside charred away a lot of stuff that I had held on to. And some things that I had forgotten about. So here are some of the symbols that pulled me out of that to realize the good and why, maybe why they survived as that reminder, that symbol. Okie dokie, artichoke. Time for my bag of tricks. So, the first thing for me, I was pleased to find, is this. It survived. It's got my initials on the bottom. I was in junior college taking art class, don't you know? And look at the color. Thank you. I've always liked this color, see? Anyway, it survived. It survived. So it symbolizes for me my love of art, the use of my hands, education, and beautiful form. Because to me, this is beautiful. I don't care for, you know, what all y'all think, but to me it's beautiful. And that's how we need to live our authentic common good, is what is beautiful to each one of us. That makes it special. Okay, sit right there. The second thing was this Christmas ornament. Now look at it. It is shiny and sparkly, a little scorched in the metal. It was a gift from my niece in Atlanta 3 years ago. It says, Georgia on my mind. I cherish my family. We usually meet there every single year, all of us. Family. And all we share. And then, behind me, this is me. Bet you couldn't tell. This is me getting into my safe after the fire. It survived. Because I know I'm always protected. And when I say that, I had it up here, protected. I was protected in my mind, intellectualizing it. But this brought it deeper. Because what I'm pulling out is my trust document. And my parents taught me trust. So I trust people, and I allow them to trust me back. And the next one shows after the safe was emptied. Now, there is a protective layer between the walls of this safe. It's a Fire King. And in between the walls is a product called dry light. Don't you love that? It's a special mix of concrete, diatomaceous earth, and vermiculite, which stores moisture in a crystallized form until it reaches a point in temperature of 250 degrees. It begins to sweat, like us. We get too hot. Sweats between the space in the walls around the safe, thus forming a fire-resistant shield. Very symbolic of what I just mentioned about my shutting down my walls, my this. But however, the deeper symbol for me is that when we get a little hot, there is that something within us that can crystallize the spirit. Dry light becomes a moist, fluid, protective sense. And I don't have a picture of this because I have it stashed away somewhere else. My grandma, Bill, yes, Bill, before transgender, I think. My grandma Bill's Texas chili recipe. Now, why is this a common good? Well, she gifted me the recipe in 1976, the year she died. And I've never made it. I always promised to make it. I procrastinated. That's one of my deep downs, procrastination. Still working on it. Gonna make it. Am making it this year. I've had someone come forth. His name is Dan. He said, let's make the chili. I said, yes, we're making the chili this year. So, it was in that safe. The last symbol I will share with you before you come up. Don't pull it up yet. Did you see it? Pull it up. There she is. There she is. Both James and I had a Kuan Yin sculpture that did not survive the fire. And her name means she who hears the cries of the world. Signifies compassion. When we realized our desire for another Kuan Yin, we set our intentions for another one for our new home. We were walking through a store recently. Both of us went, bam, there she is. This is metal. We like metal now. And it's here. So here's this lovely countenance looking down from the fireplace, just reeking of peace and compassion. It's just the perfect thing right now for us. So, what I know about all of this newness, and especially a new home, it can be a new home inside yourself or our physical new home. But a new home is a clean slate, like a clean mind, a new thought, a chance for new memories and new beginnings. And what I want to share with you is never let the less than experiences that you have in your life define you. They're temporary. They are temporary. But rather allow them to refine your soul by looking deeply into their symbology for the common good. What I know is we are equipped with and have unlimited access to spiritual wisdom. It guides and guards when we allow it. So my charge for all of us, when facing uncertainty, and when a fear surfaces and the temperature gets 250 degrees, and you start to sweat, breathe. Breathe. And take a moment to remember God is all there is. I am protected. So, beloveds, remember to focus on the common good. Focus on what is good in everything before you. And you'll discover that which is true and familiar, and the wisdom which surrounds us, each to one another. Namaste.